What kind of man welcomes the company of the hurting, helpless, and the hopeless?
What kind of a man can heal the pain with a single soft touch?
What kind of a man multiplies hope and freedom as easily as he does fish and bread?
Who else can turn our dusty old religion into a brand new relationship?
What kind of man would claim to be God in the flesh, but then allow that same flesh to be torn apart?
What kind of a man would embrace betrayal,
Insults,
Torture,
Mockery.
And death.
and yet live to tell about it.
Nobody but Jesus.
Nobody but Jesus.
Nobody.
who could speak with such authoritative words and yet drench them with compassion?
Who could be strong enough to still the storms, yet be so meek and humble?
Who could allow the hands that created the universe to also be nailed into a wooden cross?
Who could choose patience despite deserving immediate and complete obedience?
Who could be blameless and without fault, but still endure the judgment others deserve?
Nobody but Jesus.
Nobody but Jesus.
nobody.
Who will love us like him?
Who will be with us when all others have left?
Who comforts us in suffering?
Who is our peace in the midst of anxiety?
Who reassures me when my mind is drowning in doubt?
Who accepts me as I am, with no strings attached?
Who else would die for me while I was sinking in sin?
Who else can turn the grave into Easter morning?
Nobody.
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 Nobody but Jesus.
Think of what Mary went through. In her deepest grief, she went to the tomb. She went expecting to prepare his dead body. She left the garden so full of that kind of joy, she practically flew. Mary said, "Rabboni." That's not the same thing as rabbi. Rabboni was a way to address God. For Mary, that one word in that moment had to be the most joyous word ever spoken. We could end that gospel story with chapter 16, verse 8. Trembling and bewildered, the women went out and fled from the tomb. They said nothing to anyone because they were afraid. How amazing that moment would have been. One word. What if our knowledge of the resurrection story ended with the empty tomb? No appearances afterwards, no Peter jumping into the water, no feed my sheep. What if it all ended with the empty tomb? Mary does not even know it's him until he says her name. We all know who is speaking when they say our name. You know by the way they call your name. Jesus said, "Mary." The stone was rolled away, and we know Mary and the other women didn't do it. The stone could not keep all that Jesus was in the tomb. The tomb was empty. The stone was rolled away. So what is the stone for you? Pain, depression, age, divorce, cancer, betrayal, loneliness, addiction, grief, or death? The stone has no power over Jesus. Jesus is not in the tomb. The stone was rolled away. The one common denominator in all four Gospels is the scene where Mary Magdalene and just Jesus. Jesus says, "Do not cling to me." If I were Mary, I would have thrown myself into the arms and held him so tightly. Mary would not have wanted to let him go. Jesus was passing the ministry to Mary and the disciples. Jesus gave the ministry to his disciples, and they passed it along to us. The old phrase, "You are the only Jesus some people will ever see," is frighteningly true. We are the hands, feet, eyes, and ears sharing the heart of Jesus. Jesus is part of us, and he exists here and now. Who can do that? Who can be here and exist in this here and now through us? Nobody but Jesus.